Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concerts.com.
Murielle, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's great to have you now. I'm looking forward to diving into your music over the next bit. So
Yeah.
The Great Alone released Perception on the 26th of January. What can you tell us about it?
It's been a long journey before the release because we recorded the album in 2021, and because of we were just starting to come out of this pandemic, global pandemic, so it was a bit difficult to have a long-term vision. That's why it takes so much time to release the album. So we expected this album for a long time to be released. So yeah, it's I think it's sort of an introspective journey, perception. If I should describe it, I would say that it's sort of an alternative rock with a touch of metal. Definitely a touch of metal there because we're pretty much inspired by metal music, especially Swedish bands. So I think you can hear that in our music. It's not pure rock. Maybe the sound is a bit heavier than regular rock, classic rock, I would say. So yeah.
Right. I feel like it's kind of left open to the listener to draw their own thoughts on the songs, kind of get their own perception, so to speak.
Of course, yeah.
Where did the influences or the inspiration come for the tracks?
From different horizons, really, from movie soundtracks to metal music to how can I say that? Traditional Nordic artists, like, I don't know if you know Ward Runa or Eivor or artists like that. We listened a lot of that kind of music back in 2021, and it had a lot of influence on the music, and also bands like Guano Apes, Tool, Perfect Psycho. Yeah.
Right. I like it.
Very eclectic inspiration.
That's for sure. And when you guys are making new music, what does the process look like? What does the writing process look like?
Actually, we are two composing, Vince and me. So when we compose, we usually start by the music. So Vince composes like a song, and we listen to it. We make some arrangements. We change some things if I think that it would be better to change for the vocals. And then I just put my cask on. I record and I go through the song with no how can I say that in English, with no previous idea, of what I will do, and I just sing random words, random melodies, and that's maybe it's a special. I don't know how others do the composition of vocals, but it allows to have a very spontaneous response to the music, emotional part, intuitive part of composition is definitely the vocals. And yeah, so I just try to find the right melodies. I come back and forth a lot, of course, but that's how we work. Then we put everything together, we listen together, we make some changes, we can change maybe the structure or things like that. But it's for me, it's pretty easy to work because usually we have the music before the vocals, even if sometimes I have the vocals before the music. But when you have like a very complete song to work on, it's much easier than having just random ideas, you know.
Yeah, true.
We have a kind of a home studio, like humble home studio, but you know, from the time you have a computer, you have a right program to use and a microphone, it's enough. So I can work on pretty well achieved songs, and yeah, that's how we work. And then I write the lyrics.
Right, right. And how does the finished version of the album compare to the original vision?
I think it's not very different from what we wanted to do in the first place. The only thing, let's say, that we didn't see coming is the fact that this is not a concept album, but we realized after the recording and when we listened to the songs that there was some kind of a red line on the album. Within the lyrics, there was a whole theme of emotional perception. That's why we ended with this title. So that was the surprise, let's say, the surprise. But we worked a lot previous to the recording. So we made a lot of pre-productions to know where we were going and have a quite finished idea of the songs. Yeah.
Right, right. And when you look back on this album in your mind, how do you think of it?
Um, I think that, as I said, it's pretty much an introspective album. It's definitely a debut album. So now, like 2 years later, we still compose. We compose even after the recording of Perception. We continue with the composition process. Um, it's an album that I think will allow us to go in many different directions with the next one. So I think it's a good start. It's a good preview of who we are musically and our universe.
Right, right. And you know, have you guys got the chance to play any of the tracks live yet?
Yes, we had a gig in London in last July. We have another gig before going on tour in March. We have a gig in February, at the end of February. So we didn't play much live together, but we are like we rehearse a lot. So there's definitely a good energy from the songs being played live. So yeah, we're excited to see how the public will react.
I'd say so. I'd say so. At this stage, so I'd like to dive into your own personal history when it comes to music to give the listeners a sense of where you come from. Now, if you can you remember your earliest musical memory?
Yeah, definitely. I was a little child, maybe I would say before 10, maybe 7, 8 years old, and my mother used to listen to Queen a lot, like a lot. So I had kind of a concert every Saturday morning in the living room with big speakers, very loud. So I was kind of drawn to Queen early age.
I like it. And can you pinpoint the exact moment then that sparked a desire to become a musician?
um, it was when we started working together, really, because I can say that I started pretty late regarding other path within the music. Um, but it had I always had kind of a very defined interest for art and artistic disciplines of any kind. And unfortunately, I had to do other things for a living. So I was a bit out of this artistic part of myself. And one thing leading to another, I was I was like, I think I want to do something like with music. It's always been a huge part of my life. Like I listen to music every day. I can't take a ride in my car without music. It's just not possible. So it came pretty naturally, like one thing leading to another. And when I said to Vince, there is the song that you're playing, because he was at the time playing in another band, a metal band, and he was composing a song, and I was like, this song is just, this riff speaks to me. And I told him, you should give me the song, because we're gonna do something together with the song. And he was, yeah. And I said, yes, I think so. And I just composed what I had in my mind, the vocal line that I had in my mind. And the song was completely different, but the main riff and the chorus are still the same. It's the chorus from Horizon on the album. This is the first thing we did together. And you know, the more and more you practice, the more and more you create something that's your own music. It's like it's obvious at some point. The more you pay, the more you sing, the more you do the thing. It became like, honestly, I've never spent so much time practicing something that's not a job. That's not what
Yeah, I get you. I
and
get you.
yeah, that's how I came to do
Right,
that.
right. And what's the music scene like in Switzerland, specifically the rock music scene?
There's definitely a scene, but I think it's the same in every country. It's pretty difficult. It's difficult when you're a no-name band, when nobody knows you. It's difficult to drag the interest of people, of the audience, of the promoters. Now, after COVID, lots of things changed, and one of these things is definitely the contact with the promoters. So I would say there is a scene in Switzerland. We are maybe not the most visible scene, but there is a scene, and it's like everywhere else. It's pretty difficult
Hmm.
to do something.
Yeah. How did you guys go about getting your music out there, your name out there then?
I like it was 2022, I think, when we released music videos for the album. We released Prison, Cell, and last year, almost a year ago, Beyond Dreams. That's how we started to promote the band a little bit. With we wanted to have like a sort of a finished product to present. We didn't want to just put a song there without nothing else. That's why we waited to film videos and to have a whole thing to show. So we started by publishing the posting the videos. Yeah.
Right, right. And the podcast is called Concerts That Made Us. So I have to ask you, as a concert goer, what concerts do you think have made you?
Um, I would say there are lots of concerts that I attended to. All of them were great, but there are some artists that stand out more because of their stage presence. I think about Ginger. I really like Ginger. Like, she has an incredible presence. You just look at her, you can't look anywhere else when she's on stage. That's just a mind-blowing thing. So Ginger, I was very impressed by her. And more generally, a huge name would be Muse, because yeah, they're just amazing. So um, there is a whole thing about the band that I like, because I discovered Muse with Origin of Symmetry when I was like 12 or 13, something like that. It was the first record that I felt connected to.
Mm.
Muse is always special for me. But for example, Slipknot, of course, amazing energy. In black metal, I'd say Behemoth. I was very, very surprised by their live show. I expected something good, but I did
Right.
not expect it that good. That energy, that sort of, they don't move a lot in the end, but something happens anyway. It's like, yeah, it's all about the energy that you feel when you attend
Mm.
a concert. So many names and many different genres once again.
Right, right. A good list there. And for any listeners that haven't caught your what for any listeners that haven't caught one of your shows, what can they expect? Tell us all about them.
There is something that we feel, all the four of us, when we are rehearsing, and now that the tour is approaching, we are rehearsing in at a venue. One of our friends has a club, and we rehearse there most of the time. So we have this kind of stage condition, and from the live that we made in London, we can have one conclusion, is that we have sort of a good unity,
Hmm.
yeah, unity,
Yeah,
and um, and definitely a lot of energy. Music just turns completely different when we play it live. It becomes much more powerful and dynamic, and yeah, so definitely energy, definitely a lot of energy.
right. Sounds like fun. Sounds like
Yeah.
fun. And you mentioned the upcoming tour. You're heading out in America with Powerman 5000. Give
Yeah.
us all the details. How did it come about? What are you looking forward to?
So it's first of all, it's an amazing opportunity that we got through our label, Pavement, and we are so grateful to that we got this opportunity, because it will be amazing for us. We will play in front of maybe 400, 500 people every night. So what can we ask more? So yeah, and we are touring with another band with September Morning, and it's kind of an interesting night, because you have three bands, three different genres, but all very energetic. Powerman is very it's just crazy how they are on stage. I don't know if you I just looked up on I saw them actually a few years ago. They were opening for Korn here in Switzerland, and I've never heard about them, I would say, but I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is crazy. And now that we can play with them, it's just wow. It's just amazing. So we
Yeah,
hope that we will be able to promote the music the way we want to. We hope that the public will have a good response to our lives, and and we hope that this will bring other opportunities also.
I'm sure it will. How do you, both as a band and personally, how do you prepare for such a big tour?
We prepare by working a lot on our instruments, like respectively, all the four of us. We rehearse together, and beside that, we prepare like on the level that we need individually. Like I kind of do a bit more sport than I used to before. So I'm more into sport, into physical condition, to also to maintain the energy throughout the set, and to maintain and to contain also the excitement,
Mm,
because when you're very excited to do something, you need to control a little bit the thing, so it's positive.
yeah,
So yeah, I prep myself, like, physically.
right,
And I sing a
right.
lot, of course.
And bit of an odd question, but when it comes to packing for going on tour, what's one thing that you can't live without?
Oof, what's I have the word in French. I don't know how you say that in English. The little things that you put in your ears, not to
Uh,
hear anything when you sleep. This is
oh,
something that I can't live without. For sure, I can't.
right,
It doesn't take a
right.
lot of place, you know. That's pretty convenient.
Yeah, yeah. And when you look back on your own shows, then is there one that stands out as the most perfect experience you've had?
Well, as we only had one, I would say this one in last July in London, of course.
Right,
Of course, yeah.
right, right. What made it so special apart from being the only one?
Um, what was special? Don't know. What was yeah, I know. What was special is that we know each other very well. All four of us, we know each other pretty well musically. But at the time, not that much. So we kind of you kind of know that you made the right choices to choose this musician instead of another when you are on stage, and it you just feel that it's right. You feel the thing. We are pretty lucky with that, because I talk about energy a lot because energy is important for us. um, and we realized that energy was pretty much like it was fluid between us, and that's the thing that stand out the most. Yeah.
Right, right. And did you guys have like a pre-show or post-show ritual? How did you psych yourself up? And then afterwards, how did you wind down?
On that specific show, we didn't have the time because there was a technical problem at the venue when we were doing the sound check. So we basically did the sound check. We dressed, and we jumped on stage. We didn't have the time to really do something, but the thing that we did spontaneously before jumping on stage is just having like a hug everyone, and I think it's a good thing to feel everyone, to touch, the others, and to have this connection. It just creates something that you can bring on stage later. Yeah.
Definitely,
And after
definitely.
and after the show is just that you're happy you did it, and there's pretty much the same thing happening, actually, hugging each other. Yeah.
Right, right. And how do you balance your personal lives then with the demands of being in a band, especially, heading to America on tour?
Uh, it it demands like organization, a lot of organization, of course, but we know that we will go to the US since last September. So we had the time to see it coming and to organize what needed to be organized. So it's pretty cool. For the two other members of the band, it's a bit different. They need to organize themselves also. But one of them is the two are pro musicians, so they're professionals. One of them has a music school, so he just had to find someone to a backup, pretty much. And our bassist is pro musician, so it's organization, of course, but it's not impossible to do.
True, true. And when you think about being a musician, what's the one thing you would change?
Oh, the look that you have on yourself, the way you see yourself
Ah,
is something very it's difficult to just for me personally to just accept that you may not be as you want to be, as you visualize in your head.
mm,
You visualize the perfect thing always. So I think this is the challenge that I have, not to be that exigent, not that perfectionist on certain things. Yeah.
Right, right. It's a good one you don't normally think of actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and when
And
you see yourself, when someone, for example, at the show in London, someone filmed, and I saw the footage afterwards. Um, I I was not like disappointed, like you, wait, like
mm.
if I was saying this is like shit, it was not, it's not that stage, but I was like, I directly see the things that I don't like, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I have a problem focusing on what is positive. I will always see the things that I don't like about it, you know.
yeah. Very hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty hard, yeah.
And when you look towards the future, then, how would you like the band to evolve? Say, what would it look like in 3 to 5 years' time?
Uh, the dream, the dream thing in 2, 3, 4 years would be to have a solid fan base. Is to be able to play our own show, to do our own tours. This would be amazing. Maybe 3 years, 4 years, depending on the how it's going. And yeah, it would be great to have a positive response to the music so that we can move on and grow the way we want to grow, of course. But yeah, solid fan base is
Right.
important. Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I'm sure it's going to happen, especially in
I hope.
America.
Thank you. Thank you.
And before we dive into the last couple of questions, then, future plans for the rest of the year. What happens after the tour with Powerman 5000?
Well, we have a few things that may be confirmed, but that are not confirmed now. And actually, we expect a lot from this Powerman tour to have more opportunities because, you know, and it's completely understandable and it's logical that the promoters want to see you live before they offer you an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
So we will definitely have a lot of things to show during the Powerman tour. So we hope that this will help find other opportunities. You know, when
Yeah.
you need to start, that's a little bit frustrating because we want to have a few things to say, a lot of concerts that are already confirmed. But as we are, even if we go on tour with Powerman, we are still no names for the main
Hmm.
for most people. We need to create our thing for promoters to be interested.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Any plans at all to go back over to London or England?
Yes, we'd like to, um, but nothing is planned like really now at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe another tour in the US at the end of the year. We hope, but yeah,
Fingers crossed.
yeah,
Right. Well, we'll dive into the last couple of questions. So these are
yeah.
a couple of random, odd questions, but I'm intrigued to see your answer. The first one, what are you currently obsessed with? It can be a book, a TV show, anything at all.
What am I completely obsessed with now? Would say it's a book actually, the book that I'm reading now. Like it's a crime story, a thriller kind of book, and
Ah,
I'm really when I start reading a book, it's so difficult to just stop reading, you know.
hmm.
So it's kind of the thing that I do that I I think okay, let's read for about 30 minutes and it's suddenly it's 2 hours, you know. So that's the thing that I'm obsessed with at the moment.
I totally
And
get
and the,
that.
the prep for the tour also takes a
Yeah,
lot of time.
I could imagine. The next one. So, if you could collaborate with any musician from history, who would it be and what sort of song would you create?
Um, Many people that I would like to collaborate with, like basically the people that you admire, you know. But
Yeah.
let's say somebody that does a different genre of music or has a different approach. So I would say Matt Bellamy from Muse, because I would be
Right.
interested to see how he would compose the vocals and record them.
It's a good
Yeah.
one, actually. And the final one, what
Yeah.
song would appear on the soundtrack to your life?
Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen,
Right,
of course.
right. Has to be that one. So, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure now. I've really enjoyed chatting with
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. For me too. Thank you for having me. And see you soon, maybe.
Welcome to the podcast, conscience that made us. Interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concerts that made us.com.